Here we are. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. Oh, I'm just about on time, I think. I just did a monumentally stupid thing with half an hour to go. It's a beautiful, beautiful starry evening here in South Africa. So I've been out doing my nerdy hobby, astrophotography. I thought, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll try and process those images before we start this. And what did it do? Completely crash the computer. So there we are. So so we've got Luca from Drone Tech, which is fantastic. Flyby guy, Mr. Ogden. He's dropping things, and an Uncivil Aviation Authority. So hello, one and all. I am completely unprepared. Let me put SUS News in here. Who wants to go first while I'm trying to get myself prepared as much as I can do? Anyone? No one?
I'll give you guys a quick rundown of where I'm at. So I'm in Ogden, Utah. I'm in Ogden, Utah right now at the LIDA event, and we've got demos going on by DJI, ACSL, you got Skydio, you got Autel, you've got a bunch of live training. So mountains, always nice. We've got this new, you guys have probably seen, I think, Gary, you posted about the SciFly, the new 3-hour quadcopter.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Is it there?
Yeah, it's flying in the sky. So you probably can't see it. That's right there moving. So there's the Cirrus from Teledyne, but the SciFly is right there. It's been bombing around, like positively flying around for a long time. You can see it moving, hopefully. I'm pointing.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's it right there. So you've got ongoing training, NIST training, and then, people are just doing demo flights. So we're in America, so you've got military police, I guess, with the large ground vehicles. And then, so it's a cool place. So anyways, thought this would be, also we got a Dock 3 on a Ford Lightning. You got a tethered Cirrus from Teledyne. So very cool aircraft. I figured that, real demos are always nice for you guys to see, right?
So there's no risk of someone shooting them down there? No, it's okay.
I don't know. Well, the day is early. It's only 3 o'clock.
So that SciFly thing, can you grab us as many photos as you can of it? Because, of course, just about all of the world's a non-believer at the moment.
You know what? It's for sure. I can grab some photos and send them off later. It's like, you know what? They've popped it up and it's been going. So, there's been 1 or 2 drones that maybe didn't take off or, technical issues, whatever. But yeah, that one, they haven't had any issues. And again, it's kind of hard probably to see with the sun there, but if you can see it right now, moving around.
Yes. Yeah.
That's real flights. So I'll grab some photos and send it. I was looking at it. It looked like a tattoo battery. You've got I don't know if it was HereLink, but the extended arms, large propellers. It seems like a really scaled up Dock 3.
Well, this is, that's exactly the stuff we all want to know. Everybody's dying to know. So get in there, sneak in, get the pictures, and we'll find out. This claimed 1 hour. Oh, no, more than that.
It's 3 hours. I think it's supposed to be
3 hours.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's right. Let's get a picture.
If you show the picture. I can find the guys who are flying SciFly. Oh, they're right here. You want me to ask them their specs?
Yeah, fantastic.
I can ask them. Are you guys SciFly? Do you want to do a live cut-in on SUAS News saying what your spec is? All right, so what's your name? I'm Logan. This is Logan, so Gary in the group. So,
how's it, Logan?
Hey, guys.
How's it?
So spec we were talking about? Yeah, Gary, fire away.
Is it real, Logan? Is it really, really real?
It is really.
The whole world doesn't believe you.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that the thing? So let me look at the screen. So I've done 2 flights today. I'm up to about 40 minutes of total flight time, and I've used about 15% of the battery. The winds today it says it's about 8 miles per hour with gusts up to 15.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing is I'm just doing orbit mode, well clear of all the other participants. But we'll be out here probably for another 45 minutes to an hour. But yes, it's real.
Wow. Okay. And what payloads it got on board it to give with that?
Well, today I just have an FPV camera. What we're integrating into the platform itself is we'll have a 20x optical zoom camera that gets, really outstanding resolution at a pretty good standoff distance. So one of the benefits of form factor, a little bit bigger form factor, we can carry heavier sensors, but also things like our antenna profiles are much bigger. And so from a connectivity standpoint, there's just like these compounded benefits of a little bit bigger form factor bird.
What's the price point?
We'll release that this summer.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. But you can think of it like in line with the enterprise drone market.
Okay, cool. Is that all you wanted, Gary? Any other questions?
Which part of the enterprise market? That's quite a broad, because there's teeny tiny enterprise.
So here's what I would say. There's an easy way to figure out the answer to the question. We are going to announce it mid-year. We feel pretty confident we'll stay with the price. We have an LOI program right now. The LOI program helps us quantify where the demand is, where there's priorities in the market, helps us make trades on sensor integrations, things like that. In that program, please contact me, Logan, at scifly.co. I'm happy to share with you the target pricing we have. We really want to make sure that we understand where the demand is. But I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at the price point compared to the enterprise drone market today.
And who's your ideal customer?
I think this is a killer application for public safety. And I think it redefines how we think about drone as a first responder in two ways. Number one is I think it creates this new paradigm of DFR 3.0, meaning I want persistent operations. I want an aviation program that's affordable and usable at scale. So we think that's a game changer. We also think that in addition, it redefines the use of drones beyond DFR, like first responder, into much broader public safety applications, everything from fire into radiation monitoring, you name it. Public safety organizations are under pressure with mission creep, and we think these types of platforms will only help.
Now, it looks like you've got almost like a helicopter head on it with lead lag hinges on it. What is the head? It's not multi-rotor blades, is it?
It is multi-rotor blades.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so our inspiration in the optimization program that we've gone through for 3 years has really been to learn best practices from the helicopter industry and work to apply them to multi-rotors. And so the one you point out is a great catch. If you look at the blades we have, they resemble much more like a rotorcraft blade than they do a multi-rotor with a lot of twist and taper. And that's all about efficiency. I got to get my altitude back up. It's all about efficiency and forward flight.
All right. Any other questions, Gary, or should we let the man do his job?
We should probably let the man do his job. I'll put a picture up on the thing, but that's fantastic. That is really.
I appreciate it. I think you should go ask all the other folks if it's real too.
Yeah, I see. You know what? I've seen it go, and it's been going the whole time. So.
In Josh we trust. See, Josh said it was fine. So.
Demo or die, right?
Yeah, demo or die. Anyway,
demo or die. Yeah, perfect.
Anyways, anyone else you want to talk to?
Well, I'll let the boys work that one out. This is what it is. This is what we're talking about, gang, in Out There Land. It's this one thing. I'm not sure if it's this size one or not, but you can see the helicopter lead lag hinges on there. I noticed that straight away when I saw it. And this was the outlandish video that they...
This is SciFly, a game changer in industrial drone technology.
Which had everyone saying, no way.
Because SciFly does 4 things no other drone can.
Yeah, like I've been out here now for over an hour, and like I can honestly say it's just been going. Like, to be an early drone, launch your CG marketing. I definitely think you get cases where is it believable, but from being out here, it's working.
Well, you got us a scoop there, my boy. There's not many people have seen this thing, so you've seen it.
Here, I'll show you one more, and then I'll stop commandeering. Here's a Dock 3. Ford Lightning, fully integrated, vehicle launchable. That's pretty cool. You've also got, this is Teledyne on their massive tether. So that's kind of cool. You got going on. So yeah, some cool stuff. So this is a LEDA event in Ogden, Utah, Law Enforcement Drone Association, all public safety. I think that's nice about this crowd. Like there's not a lot of fluff here, right? There's just real people flying.
Yeah. True enough. Well, shall we let you walk around? Are you happy to stay around in the background, chipping in?
Yeah. I'm gonna go do my job and go work. But I figured I'd give you guys, hopefully enjoyed that. And
do your job. Do your job.
I know, right?
Got a job. You've
sometimes.
got a job. Wow. All right, mate. Thanks very much, Josh.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right, mate.
Cheers.
Guys, take care, mate. Cheers. Bye-bye. Well, now, are we still here? Oh, and now he's gone. Well, that was a surprise. I don't know. Had everyone seen that thing out in the wild?
Yes. No. We just
not in the wild or in the videos. I mean, I didn't believe in it. I'm not sure I still do, but it's there. It's flying.
If it's taking helicopter style blades, it would be more efficient than a multi-rotor by a long shot. And the only thing that it's do the blades actually move, or are they just sat at like 5.5? I wonder, because it'll be the angle.
They don't. They don't look like they're well. It's only from what I see. They don't look like they're articulated. And it's interesting that they've got like a Q-tip or whatever they call them on the end of the blade as well. It pitches down. So it's.
They must have good battery technology as well. There, I mean, there must be good battery technology.
Maybe.
Well, Josh said it was a tattoo, didn't he? So hopefully you'll get some photos later. We'll find out.
Unless they're running it a bit like how a Chinook runs, where one rotor is completely. They set the rotor so one is set really nice to generate lift, and the back one does this turn, doesn't it? And it's like
a little bit, yeah.
I wonder if it's all about the angles they have set, and if it's always doing like a forward motion kind of thing, it allows it to fly better. It becomes more like a wing then, and that gives you your efficiency. So I'm
big disc area.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it's the angles of the way it sits, and it just cuts through the air better, more like a proper helicopter would or wing, gives you that extra efficiency. Because a multi-rotor is horrendous, of course, as we know.
Yeah. Well, I thought it's interesting. He said, yeah, they're multi-rotor blades, but then he said they had hinges. But anyway, he was like, okay. No, well, that's very good. So that's really positive news. Let's get on to some negative news, some really negative news. And we got two negative stories, but the one that got my goat today is the one that affects Lucas and Drone Tag, and I should present this because this is not cool. This is not kosher.
This is bang.
Dare I say this is the industry though? I don't know, Lucas. What? Tell us all about it.
Hey guys, happy to be here. Just a quick story to share. So, we have been company doing those remote ID transmitters over some time. I know we all love remote ID, but we can keep that for a different evening. But the story just happened to us that one of our partners based in UAE was reaching out to us and telling us, hey guys, we just seen you have been partnering with a different company called SpotMe. And we were like, what? No, you are, our exclusive partner. We work directly with you. And then we realized that there is someone else in the UAE trying to resell our solution on their website under the SpotMe brand. And what was surprising is that it was Dubai Civil Aviation Authority. So that caught our attention. And funny thing about the story is that, we contacted them in a friendly manner that we want to hear some clarification, if that is a mistake or, if that is an intent or whatsoever. But they were simply unresponsive and, uncollaborative in this manner. So, we decided to reach out to lawyers and send them like an official letter, which they also ignored. So seems like they do not care about what they are doing, that they are aware that they are basically stealing our design. So we decided to go public with it. So thanks, Gary, for, sharing that story. And basically, let's see if this, public pressure makes them to talk and comment why they did that. And another interesting thing about this story is that the design on the right, the copy, is something they came up originally with, but then they slightly changed the front side. So they basically made a surgery of the front side and made another design. So they are kind of still trying to find a way out, how to get out of this trouble, but they're just making it worse. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no expert in all of this sort of thing. I guess if they're not wanting to play, they won't play, and that'll be the end of it. I don't know. Does anyone have any experience in this sort of thing? I don't.
You know, Gary, the funny thing is that we have been used some people like trying to copy our hardware from the inside, or taking our features, or even stealing texts. Those were usually like Chinese companies not knowing what they are doing, and that's basically, you know, simple solution for them. But it's the first time that like an official authority is stealing from us, and that's where we should kind of be cautious about what we are doing, because if we cannot find a justice when authority is stealing from you, then you know what's the kind of breaking line.
And you had remind us, you had an excellently named version of your, because you know we have had this discussion in the past that nobody really loves. RID. What was the name of your first one, or one that you released? Remind me.
So our favorite product, a remote ID transmitter for hobbyists, is called DroneTech BS, and even that was stolen. So when you scroll down in the news, so
on this news,
no, yeah, on this news, even down there, there is not a picture. So
no,
yeah.
okay.
There is another thing. They basically took the pictures of the DroneTech BS and put it into their own application and explained what remote ID is by our own words. So not even this product is affected. They just took out the renders from our website and placed it into the official app of Dubai Civil Aviation Authority.
And that's and to be clear, this is the Dubai Civil Aviation Authority we're talking about. We're not talking about John, Dave Smith's drone shop. We're talking about the Dubai Civil Aviation Authority. So it's pretty poor form. And do you know what immediately came to mind? And this might be a little bit silly to me. It's like, these are the people that are going to be having urban air mobility and flying taxis going everywhere because they are the leaders and all these things. And they're into selling knocked off goods. It's not a good start, is it, if you want to be world leading in an industry? Just a thought. Oh, hello.
Our assumption is that the product actually doesn't exist. So they're currently just selling the picture. So that's my assumption. So eventually they will work it out some way. So they will, eventually sell something under a different design. So that's my expectation, how they think they will get out of it. But, they still kind of...
I was going to ask you if you'd actually managed to buy one, because that would obviously be you haven't. Okay.
I have a question here. Sorry, Lucas. I've been using DroneTag. I've been using it with ANRA for their testing, and they can when I would switch it on here in Finland. I'm based in Finland, and I think that the ANRA guys, I think they were probably in India. I'm not sure. So as soon as I switched it on, they could see it. So what is it with these copies then? How is it within the activation? Can they see it? Is this coming from somewhere in the UAE, or is it coming from somewhere else?
So the technology we used is cellular network. That's why you have been immediately able to see it from anywhere onto the world. But we don't have any information of what they have been using in UAE. So that's why I said that I'm assuming they just copied the design, basically the renders, and they will eventually be coming with different technical solution, because it's not just something you can copy paste internally, including hardware, firmware, backend, and all that kind of stuff. So they probably needed something as a placeholder. So they took us our product, make this, face transplantation, and now they will eventually come up with different solution. But that's just my assumption based on the unresponsiveness.
Okay. Yeah, because it shouldn't be something that they can sell and is just working.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, so because I think it's not as simple as just a box that you can just, because obviously with it being a network remote ID, there is a lot of networking going on, and there's a lot of authorization and whatnot, and knowing how it is when you when you see the different level of lights and whatnot, it's not that simple.
You're correct. It's completely true. I see we have a question.
Yeah, there we are. Is having a similar rendered picture of some casing as bad taste? Was it actually stealing a hardware design? I suppose you won't know that till you can open it up and see if it does exist.
Yeah, that's the point. We don't know if it exists, but eventually, even stealing the design and pretending it's yours, that's just a bad thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And the fact you've had lawyers speak to that and they've not replied doesn't look good anyway. Because if you had just done some sort of mock-up, you'd just say, "Oh, we apologise. We shouldn't have done it in that design. We'll take it down, and everything will be sorted out." But the fact they've ignored it is definitely not good optics.
No, it's not cool. It's not cool at all. Hopefully, this will resolve itself, or reveal itself, or show itself. I don't know how we want to put it, and you'll be able to keep moving forward. But how are RID sales going? How is it working for the company? Is it here to stay now?
The device itself?
Yeah, the drone tag and RID, remote ID, is it a thing?
So the remote ID itself, it's quite transforming. So I would say that people already got used to it. It's, there, and people just got used to it. But now, at least in the EU, we finally see some meaningful applications. So I don't know what kind of Finland is doing for the projects at this particular moment, but let's say in Central Europe, we do have plenty of, let's say, restricted airspace where only certain type of drones with network remote ID are allowed. So I believe that's finally some a use case where you can use this for air-to-air deconfliction. But of course, that's not the technology like the broadcast remote ID, which was mandated. This is network remote ID working on more secure link. Yeah. So I'm really happy that
only testing though. So I mean, there's not that much going on. I mean, it's only testing. It's only for use space or whatever other whatever, let's say, EU funded project is out there. So but there's no real life traffic that is actually using it and where money's been made. Let's say.
So the business model behind the UTM and UAM is still to be found yet, but at least I would say within this year we are finally seeing some progress, and I even see some willingness from the authorities to make those testing polygons all around Europe. So at least that is a good sign.
What you mean the DCAA?
Not the DCA, but I don't know, in our country, Czech Republic, or Poland, or Austria, Germany.
One question: how I've noticed that when we've had to use them in terms of testing, when we have to have them delivered to us to do, they're in quite short supply.
That's correct.
Yeah. So they're not they're not easy to get. I know that.
So that already changed because, you know, the peak for the remote ID retrofitting is over, but there were at times where we were like 6,000 units on a back order. So that was difficult. A lot of angry customers.
Well, unhappy at least anyway, but yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Well, first day was, you know, unhappy, then they was angry.
Oh, look, and what and now is Simon saying you get to DFT if we're ready to go. It's going to be network, Simon. let's not fool ourselves. We'll jump straight to network. Yeah, I can't see it going the other way. But and it's going to cost more than 20 million. That's for sure.
And none of it works right, and it doesn't do anything for drone safety or anyone else safety or anything.
Yeah,
it's just a way to find people. That's all RIDS is for.
And it's not Lucas' fault. We've had long chats before. It's not his fault. Don't blame the messenger. It's not his fault.
Anyway, I can at least tell you some like interesting experience from the usage of the broadcast remote ID. So the one we are all complaining about. So, you know, there has been recently so many big events like, I don't know, Boston Marathon or NFL Draft or, you know, festivals, music shows. And we have been around a lot of police departments testing evaluation and trials. And they actually were quite happy about using our detection products. So for example, we do have this quite small portable receiver. That's something that you put onto your belt clip. It's $1,000 and it basically detects all nearby remote ID drones. And honestly speaking, they are so happy about the system because they cannot afford anything in the range of proper country US system costing tens of or hundreds of thousands USD, but they could afford this for $1,000, and they have been able to find so many pilots flying in those, you know, basic closed airspace that the value to cost is simply unbeatable. So that's also a very interesting trend to observe. I know we can talk about the broadcast remote ID doesn't solve anything, but now there's plenty of public safety organizations during those events just basically finding stupid people and telling them to not fly there.
Well, we have there's a use case which I've got at the moment, which I think is actually I think is going to get even worse. And I'm working in a few locations where there is a lot of drone activity in those locations, and it's not illegal drone activity. It's not anything bad. It's drone activity that is going on with the work that I'm doing.
Yep.
So it's you know, there's a few large projects, but there's lots and lots of subcontractors that are working in that area, and they're all flying drones. They're all flying drones. So there's about 20 to 25 drone flights per day happening in these locations. That's a lot. It's got to a point now where when everyone's flying, everyone's concerned about having an accident, because when everyone or some people are in the air and some people don't know you're in the air, there's a lot of hesitancy. So we now have WhatsApp groups now to try to mitigate that, to say, I'm flying, make sure you're not flying. And we have some kind of queue system, but then you don't know which other subcontractors are coming in and actually doing the same thing. So it doesn't help. So we do need some kind of device to actually try to spot, but it's not to spot to say, you shouldn't be there. It's just to say, oh, someone is there. Maybe I should wait,
Well, I was just going to bring in, I don't know, the hiss is back. The hiss went and the hiss is back. It's just me, is it? Like an open microphone somewhere. I don't know what it is. That's fair. It's gone now. Gone. But I was going to bring this
drones. It's Chris's drones. That's what it is. It's Chris's drones.
I was going to bring this in, and I think Ian sent this to me because this is an example where safety and security and all that sort of good words. I don't know. Did you bring this one into the? Who brought this one into the chat for me?
I did. My fault.
Your fault. So, serious drone incident highlights urgent need. For compliance reform. But that headline. So, if you are going to bomb someone with a drone, you are going to make sure you're very compliant before you do it, though, aren't you? You're going to go out and get all your SORA stuff, everything in place. I mean, heaven forbid that you do that.
Dangerous goods.
Dangerous. Exactly. The whole course.
To be honest, even this incident and that, this should just be just plain this criminal activity. Just highlight exactly what it is. What I did with this, actually, I brought to the attention the fact that the Irish Times reported it and then used a stock image of a Mana Aero drone.
That was terrible.
Where you could see their branding on the side and you could see the reg plate of the drone itself. And you wouldn't do a story, say, about a poisoning and put a Coke bottle on there because you would be sued to oblivion. So we're so used to the media misusing stock images, but that one was an absolute shocker. But a lot of us in the drone community jumped on that, and within an hour, the newspaper replaced it.
It's one of those frustrating things because I've just put on LinkedIn. This has to have one of the worst headlines for 2025. It is terrible, and they go, "What's wrong with it?" It's like, read your first paragraph. I kind of despair because quite clearly it's got having the drone is irrelevant. The worst thing in that is the B word.
Yes, that's right. It's that. That's the worst bit. Yes.
Right. If you have one of them, right, that's so illegal. It's unbelievable. Right. At that point there, and then someone's going to go, "Oh, you're not following the drone rules, are you? You naughty boy." What the hell?
I should say that this shouldn't be called Drone Professionals Island Committee. It should be called Drone Unprofessionals Island Committee, because all this is doing is tarring the whole drone industry, making it look terribly bad. It is scaring people, and that makes them negative towards all drones, doing no one any favors, and it just shows a complete total lack of, well, I would just say just common sense, understanding what's going on here, and the fact this is criminal activity, and that asking for and making noises about adhering to laws when you actually intend on an exceptionally serious criminal exercise. Just
amazing.
It just smacks of what you're doing.
It's beggars belief, doesn't it? Beggars belief.
I think the icing on the cake there would be a 3D printed fraudulent drone tag not attached to it as well.
No, because they're going to be compliant. They'll have a real one. They'll have a proper one because they're going to be compliant. But joking aside, the need for RID, counter UAS, and all these other things is kind of sort of increasing. RID, not so much, but it's a bigger story that needs to be spoken about.
Yes, I agree.
And this
Bobby must have been having kittens last night.
Well, he should have sued them to oblivion.
Hopefully his lawyers
launched suing them. He shouldn't have. His solicitor in the morning should have just fired that letter and gone, "I'm having you."
I guess with the paper though, at the same time, you want a good relationship for the positive managers as well. So it was probably more a call up, assuming it hadn't already gone down by the time he did. I know he saw it quite early on. But whether he called and that got it down, or the reporter, because the reporter was tagged and told what you're playing at, so maybe the reporter intervened and got it taken down before then. But I don't know what's gone on there. But I'd imagine it was probably more of a professional chat and don't do it. But my concern is, I think, and I could be wrong. Unfortunately, we haven't got Bobby here to know, but my recollection is this isn't the first time. I think this is the second time the newspaper has used the Mana Aero stock image for a negative drone story, which just shows this is the problem we've got with a lot of publications. Essentially, you've got the publisher that owns the newspapers generally being too tight these days, where they won't pay for images. So anything they've got already snapped as a photograph, they would generally go for that. So probably the one drone image they've got for the entire paper is the Mana one. So it's like, oh, if this is a drone, boom, we'll use that.
But it's also
some more stock.
But it's also something that, unfortunately, or even fortunately, it just depends which the Dublin community can relate to, because it's something that is very much out there, So, because
it's well, Lee said soon as mended, but I know where you're going with that.
Yeah,
yeah.
Whether I actually I know who's probably dealt with this in Mana. It probably hasn't been Bobby. It has been someone else. But yeah, they would have been on that right away. It's and they wouldn't have been settling for that. But I think that something like this is gaining more traction for the story. So they probably knew exactly what they were doing. They probably knew what they were doing. They're just creating trouble to get more clicks, as usual.
We're gonna just, before we move on, we got a question for Lucas from Sparky, and I'm gonna ask that. Yeah, it would. I think that Lucas can answer it properly.
So yeah, every remote ID device, regardless the manufacturer, had to share the takeoff location for that particular device. So any person using our detection system, third-party detection system, or even free application from the Play Store or Google Play, they can detect the takeoff position for the remote ID modules, or they can get the position of the radio control when you are having a built-in remote ID, such as DJI.
Look out, he's here now. Is he? Oh, there he is. There he is. He's there now. You missed an exclusive earlier. Luke has been told us about his ripped off machine and a serious drone incident. Highlights need for compliance in Ireland, because if you're carrying a bomb, you've absolutely got to be compliant. It would be dreadful if you weren't. But we're going to go on to the next story now very quickly, which is this one. And because weirdly, we have 3 light show folks on the stream, which is extraordinary. If you search for this 10,500 drone incident, I don't know who this bloke is here, but his video is the only thing that comes up. So I better play it, I suppose. But when I first saw this, I thought, oh wow, aren't they coming down gently? It's not this great big mass fall from the sky that we saw or we have seen in some other ones. And 10,500 drones flying, that's quite a thing, isn't it? Lots of remote ID units to sell there. 10,500 of them, in fact. And I think those the very sort of units behind you there, Chris. So let's stop this video. Stop sharing that, and then you experts can unpack it for us, please.
So yeah, this is a Demoda V3, and it's a big improvement on the Demoda V2 that we were flying. And what can I tell you? It's 550 grams. It's prop guards. And what I think is most interesting is when you see these come out of the sky in that video, they're flashing red and green. And that, to me, tells that they have lost their GPS. And I expect to get some clarification on this in the next couple of days, because Demoda, we've been working with them for about 4 years now, and we've had lots of fun with them over the years. But they are really committed to finding out what happened, and they flew that show with the Vietnamese version of Ofcom there, and they were tracking the spectrum as such, and they noticed that interference. They did actually set the world record for 10,500 and forget how many, 80, something like that. The 2 shows before, but they paid for an extra show, and it was during that extra show
always
that this happened. And they got back to the box. 98% of their drones got back to the box. I have one of these boxes behind me. Each box has 12. And we have exactly 12 in this country. And the reason we don't have more is because we wanted to do something slightly different with them, and we are waiting for a next version before we expand said fleet. But the next version, I can tell you, it's in the public domain. Each one's got parachute as well, so no more falling out of the sky as such. But I suspect I can't remember off the top of my head what the flashing green and red means on these. It's been a while since I've even powered these up. And because I'm not an accountable manager, I have to power them up indoors. Remember that, people. So I love them. I think they're great. And the best thing they do, not only do they come in packs of 12, and you can pick them up and throw them around, but if you just take 12 and then just imagine how big these cases are, to do 10,500, that is just bonkers. What's more bonkers is
have them very close together as well.
Yeah. So you got a fiducial code in the bottom of each one for it to come in to land at. So it knows its GPS location where it took off, and it then looks for the box, it looks for the code, etc. But you just got to remember that each one of these has got an IP address. So suddenly you've now got 10,500 IP addresses flying in close formation off a mesh Wi-Fi network, and then you've got other support frequencies as well. So when I looked at this and I saw them, first of all, I thought, Jesus, that's a lot more than 200 coming down. I thought, but they did manage to recover them. But the speed at which they're coming down, they are making a graceful descent. We've had some issues where we've obscured the sky for these. So you can't see as many sats as you would expect. And they do, if they don't see enough sats, they will come back, basically. But they will come back. Normally the color, it's flashing blue at the moment, as you can see, just about. And that's because it's waiting to connect to the ground station. Okay, so once it's connected to the ground station, it will go, if I remember rightly, it goes light blue. And the light blue means that it's connected. Sorry, it goes green first, then it's connected, then it goes light blue, because it's GPS, and then it goes purple. And when it's got purple, it's got the RTK assist, and it's receiving that fine. But if you're operating these in limited access to the sky areas, like our courtyard outside here, you very quickly see that unless they can see all of the satellites, you are going to have issues with them. And it's the same on the V2s as well. So you want a good open space to operate them.
But I think that area did have a lot of open space. There was It looked really good. It actually looked like there shouldn't have been any energy in its issues there.
What I have had, whilst I haven't had these come down flash red and green, I have had the V2 come down in both red and green. And I suspect, and this is only a hunch, and I'm expecting to say, I think Demoda will come out and clear it up in the next week or so. And they're very keen to, put safety first, and they're very open about it as well. I mean, they posted that video. The first time I knew of that was when it was a Demoda video that I got sent, and said, we did this, but we had this issue, which I don't know of many other companies that would be that open about it. There have been obviously the raining drones video down in China, the grey sky video with obviously strong winds. We know that wasn't Demoda, that was another Chinese company. So it's really interesting to see how this is all moving forward as such. But the red and green, I suspect that the GPS unit on these drones that you see coming down has got so confused that it needs a hard reset to actually a power cycle to get back and to function. So whether that was RTK dropping out, RTK normally dropping out would just change the color of it, and if you drop, as in the color, the fault color it would have on it. Okay, not in the show. When it's in show mode, obviously it's not showing that. That's on a separate internal LED. But when you have issues with it and they come back into land, those changing colours suggest to me that that the GPS chip in it has just lost. It just cannot work out where it's meant to be.
Well, if that is the case, if it was a GNSS issue and they come back, that's actually quite a good selling point for the system, because there are other systems that if the GNSS fails in any way whatsoever, they'll just fall out of the sky. They will just fall out of the sky, or not really fall out of the sky, but they might eject to lots of different areas. But in my experience, when they come back like that, and they come back gracefully, and they come back by lots of them, is that it's a radio issue, and the radio is blocked somewhere. And what I've experienced with these larger fleets, with anything above 2,000 to 3,000, when you go up to 5,000 and 10,000, is that there are lots of different Wi-Fi networks, and if one of those networks go down, they lose the ability. And they also have their GPS, but they don't have the ability to receive commands. So
with the demoder system, you're just talking about timing, really. So they're all the entire show is uploaded into the drone itself, and somebody asked about the runtime, and it's 14 to 17 minutes, depending on how much you thrash them, and wind conditions, etc. But the key thing for this is it is a big Wi-Fi network, but the Wi-Fi network's just keeping the heartbeat. And you say these are waiting to get their heartbeat from the ground control station.
But that's the thing, the heartbeats. But if the heartbeat's not there, so
if the heartbeat's not there, and then they're running, they should keep running, providing they've gained.
Okay, so that's not the case with many others. If the heartbeat's not there, because that's the whole point with if you look at networking. So when the heartbeat's not there, it's going to shut down. It is going to stop. If this doesn't get a heartbeat, it will come back. It actually will return. So, and that's why I do think that's what happened, because there were many drones up there that were the same. They just continued, and they were looking good. The positioning was good, and they were doing what they should have done. And it looked like where you had the tank, where the tank was all over the place, and there was drones coming off it heading back. And then you had the house, which also looked good. And then you had the person and the flower. That looked all great. So that, again, to me, looked like that was one network, which was fine. And then those other drones were another network, and they were like, "Sorry, we don't know where we are, or we don't know what we should do. So, we're going to come home," because that's what the heartbeat does. Again, it would be good to know if that's the case or not.
How do they? So if they're coming out of formation back to their dock, how do they avoid the others? How is that planned?
That's a good question, and I don't think there is an answer to it. It's just
luck.
Oh, okay. It's a big sky. 10,500 aircraft in formation. It's a big sky.
Buy luck from AliExpress. They sell it.
AliExpress luck.
Yeah,
I understand they're not exporting as much of that at the moment.
I saw it advertised on YouTube. It must be true.
Yeah.
So when I saw it, because it is interesting, because everyone goes interference was the first thing everyone says. But the problem is with that's a good way to keep the media happy. So if you want to keep the media happy, the first thing you do is you go, "Oh, it was interference." Now, if it was, it would have taken out way more drones. People go, "Oh, it's GPS interference." No, because it would affect everything in the sky.
No, disagree totally on that. Totally disagree on that. So
fair enough. If you hit them with a beam of GPS jamming, you'll start to lose all of them. They won't all sit perfectly because they'll start to lose it. It doesn't discriminate. It does look more like what Stephen has said, where it's part of the swarm has lost its network. I suspect if they get 98% back, so 2% would be subnets. So you're going to get like subnets. You get about 250 on a subnet, right? So you've got those entire networks up there, and it's going to be a couple of subnets that have gone wrong, and they've had their problem, and that's going to be it. That's what's going to.
If that was a one-off show, I could agree with you on that, unless there was access point failure. Okay, if that was a one-off show, I would agree with you. But unless it was access point failure, to have it fly perfectly well for a couple of nights and then have this issue suggests to me, and and knowing Demoda as I do, I suspect that they're quite happy to sit there and say, look, Vietnamese Ofcom guys were with us and they spotted it. So the Melbourne show was very different, and that was actually these V2s that they were put, not these ones, obviously, not these ones. But
was that the ones that fell into the river?
That was, yes, but that was operator error.
Yeah, I thought so.
That was
I think we're overlooking the obvious here.
Thank you. That was really good. I didn't know that, so thanks.
Yeah, but we're overlooking the obvious. Did you not see that freaking great UFO in the sky? It was aliens.
It was half an alien.
Right?
What about sunspots? Because someone in the comments said sunspot activity, and there is a high peak in sunspot activity, but surely at night the Earth is blocking any of that radiation. So
well,
it wouldn't have
not
as
only
much effect.
that, you have to get to a KP of 6 to begin to notice it, and 7 is when you don't want to fly. Now, a lot of people go, well, 5 is when you shouldn't fly. So a lot of drone train places go, 5 is when you shouldn't fly. 5, you can fly in it. The GPS is starting to be slightly sus. 6, the GPS is now going to be sus, and you won't do an RTK mission with it for mapping because it will be wrong. And 7 is just like, no. You know, anything above a 7 is 7 in the book. You just go, hell no.
Yeah.
Just to go back to what you were saying, a bit earlier, Mark, about when you get that kind of beam and it takes. I've actually got I've got video, and I said at the end of that video that I made there, that was just on there talking about that show, I said that I should do a video about what happened to us, and I'm going to do that. So I've got a full show. There's a full show where we got jammed, where we had 500 drones in the air, and it was one of those drone defenders. I'm
just quickly making myself a counter UAS highly directional solution here. I just need a couple of more. Got to have a GPS for it. Got to have a GPS.
You plug your ear trumpet. If you plug your
exactly, and what we do, we can control it with this. So there we are. I've got a multi-million-dollar solution here from the world of counter UAS that anyone can make.
It doesn't look like a gun.
Oh, it doesn't look like a gun. You're right. Hang on, I do have a toilet roll here. We can probably there. Looks a bit more like a gun now, doesn't it? And then if we make it, we can just brush away any mistakes if we've made any.
And some water.
Can I ask a question about the Demoda system quickly?
You can.
No.
I can't guarantee I know the answer.
So it is dual C2 link as well, isn't it? It does do 2 channels. It is pumping out information over 2 channels, not just the Wi-Fi. If you lost just the Wi-Fi,
no. There's an 868 as well.
Sorry,
868 solution.
Right. Yeah. So. Okay, so that makes it even more interesting.
So you're going to focus. 868. 868, you see.
It was him all the time.
Over 2 channels because they take the mission before they take off.
Yeah.
Then there's a broadcast channel that says take off. All drones will then start to do their heartbeat and take off and go. Correct?
Yeah.
If you lose the 868, if you lose the 2.4, the 868 is there to keep information flowing to them that they need. And that includes heartbeat and everything. So what's got to be interesting is anyone that understands the interference, you would have to wipe out the 2.4 and you've got to take out the 868. So I think it's something else that's done this to them. I think it is something to do with one of the subnets on the ground. I think they'll find that it was an entire block of drones. It'll be in blocks of 200 to 250, depending how they did it. But I think it'd be a few subnets they had an issue with, and they just went, and that's the ones that came back down. I think they'll all be from the same block.
Well, yeah, it looks like they were all from the same because there was, images that were, that were let's say good, and then there was some parts of images that were bad. So I mean, I'll put money on that it was a network thing. I might be wrong, but I'll put money on it just from what I know of other systems as well.
Well, should we look at this a different way?
I'm not going to put any money on it until Demoda tells me.
Oh, come on, Chris! Come on!
No,
Use your hunch.
Come on, Chris.
No. I'm not going to be drawn on this because I know that Demoda will, they're going to work very hard to, to get to the bottom of this with the Vietnamese authorities. And I'm not going to say anything further until I see their report on it, because the one thing I can say is there has been some comedy lost in translation things, but generally they've been really, really good. And we want to carry on working with them. And I like the look of the V4, the boxes that the V4 comes in, charges, the units,
battery in there as well. Yeah.
I'd happily sell you some systems, but stay with the Chinese.
But let's just turn the story another way. The largest formation of aircraft ever has just flown. Yes. Some of them have fallen out of the sky, and nobody was
day
hurt.
3.
No one.
Day 3. Yeah. So they've flown over the first.
That's the beauty of that they've taken these, and trust me, I've picked a few of these out of the sky.
You're a doctor. We can trust you. Yeah.
Well, not the Civil Aviation Authority, don't. But there you go.
No.
That's another story. That's last week's story. So we've had some issues with these, and we've learned. We lost GNSS modules inside these, which are virtually impossible to replace, just because of the design of these. We've moved onto V3. We gave them a lot of feedback, and it's really good. And V4 is even cooler because these boxes, obviously, we're still taking batteries out, so we have a little. If I can remember how to do it. Oh yeah, there's that's the battery. Battery pops in there somehow. There you go. Mark's probably going, oh, I hate that battery. Oh, that's a C327. They should never have used that. Not on a Thursday. Anyway, that's so.
No, you would never use them on a Thursday.
You try doing this with 10,500 batteries. I mean, big hand to the guy who's in charge of 10,500 batteries.
Only one battery in here, and you charge it up on the box. Actually, the Demoda system has been taken very much from this system, where there was six in the pod, and that was 3 years ago. That was 3 years ago. So we didn't have any batteries. We just had the one battery in here. They landed in there, and that was there was no battery management at all. It was so easy. We had it so good back then. We had it so good.
Well, then people say, Mark, well, tell us about your near-field battery charging.
Do what?
Tell us about your near-field battery charging when the drones come back in and land in their box.
See, mine don't, which means I can get shed loads in a van. So the difference is the difference is that something like that, the cases are brilliant, everything else, but you need so much space to load them into.
You see, the best thing about these cases is when the drones are out doing their show in the rain, they just fill up with water. That's the best bit. You can actually, recycle the water. It's brilliant. But
this has become my dad's bigger than your dad kind of thing.
I think that's quite a good point.
So let's move on.
Taking the hole in the bottom for the water to
Let's move on quickly. In other news in Europe. In Europe today, we've had 2, not 1, but 2, count them, drone unicorns. So Quantum Systems has gone drone unicorn, and TechEver have gone drone unicorn, which is quite amazing on the same day. And this is another silly thing that I noticed, but TechEver got their press release out just after Quantum, and look, they say newest unicorn. Now, an American press release would still have said we're the first, whatever it is, even though someone else. So I don't know. That's a silly thing, but I thought fair play to them for saying newest. Same day. I mean, how unlucky were they to both go on the same day? But there we are. I'm not sure what all this means in the big scheme of things, but I thought it was quite important to get it in here today.
I think it means that the venture capital markets still believe in drones, even if they don't believe in eVTOLs, doesn't it?
Right, it could indeed, yeah, and obviously there's a market and places to go. Now I've got those in quickly because, of course, and Bruce had to get here in time for this. Now it's Ian hour. What, Ian, has happened this week? He's not going to say anything now.
What has happened this week? Well, the CAA.
Oh yes.
I just what should I say?
Well, I think you can just say our regular viewers will understand the code. The CAA are yes.
What you mean, saying something over here and then denying it over here?
Well, they're just going to say that they seem to be playing a rather dangerous game in that it was this week where there was decision noticed by the ICO against them, and they had the deadline to reply. And the reply was to provide the data that they hold about FRZ incursions by drones and data they hold about false positive incidents with drones at airports. And they didn't provide either. So I'd said, basically, you have this data, you receive it from the MPCC, you receive it from various private sector entities as well, and you may well receive it from other sources. But I could prove the fact that they get it from some private sector companies, and they definitely get it from the MPCC. And I shouldn't have to prove it with freedom of information. If I ask for something, you should say, yes, we've got it. And worryingly, though, you should know what your own organisation, the data it's got and it processes and it reports on. And if you're an airspace regulator, everyone would kind of expect you to receive data about airspace infringement of various kinds anyway. So it shouldn't be unusual. But the CA, as we know, denied that they held any such data, did a 180 on that. And then we got to the point now where they've said, oh, yes, we do get data from the MPCC and we do get it from other sources. And that's all they told me. And I'm like, you've literally just told me what I said when I raised the question with you. You've not actually provided any information. And especially when the ICO said to them, go away and do a proper search, you should be saying, we've gone away, we've done this, this is what we've done to improve on it, and this is the data. And I'd actually, as you know, as we discussed it last week on the show, I'd said, well, I'll accept this, and you could summarize the data instead. And they'd said, you've got to withdraw. And I said, no, I'm not withdrawing it. And anyway, they kind of replied in two parts. But even then, they've not provided me with the summary. Because what I said, if you're summarising it, just say, MPCC give you this amount of records, such and such a company and such a company and such a company give you this many records, and I'll be fine with that. So I would have accepted just summarising it, but it is literally provided me with no additional information. And then they have said, one thing I'd asked for as well, because really it was covered by my question, was I know there is a report, and I didn't even want to say, I didn't even want to have to go this far, but I had to because they were playing games. They keep saying, we don't have this. I said the title is something like internal CAA use only, CAA. It's it's the organization's name on the top, and it is your document. You have written this. You have taken data to create this, and only then have they finally come clean and said, "Oh yes, we do have this document. You're not having it. Policing exemption." So again, it's like, yes. So you're a police force, are you? I don't, again, the kind of they're not cooperative, and the whole build up to this, it was made out you can pseudonymize stuff, which is you can make it less specific so that you don't mention specific airports if that's the only way you can find the information. I'm not convinced it is, but it'd be like if you can, then I'm happy with that. Is that hand up for you? Want to jump in?
I just wanted to tell you a funny story. That CAA FOI put it in, and I wanted some information, so they sent it to me. So I then wrote back to them and said, "Dear Chris or Laura, thanks for this, but you should be aware that the information you sent us has actually got one of your employees' names unredacted on it, and you might want to just redact it before you put it into the public domain." They then wrote back to me going, "Dr. Crawford, you are being vexatious, and we will not consider any more requests for your freedom of information." And it's just like, but I'm just trying to tell you that bloke's name is in the public domain, and he probably doesn't want it. Oh, I just give up. The reason they've taken so long on answering Ian's request is because they've been busy answering mine, obviously.
Well, that's the trouble, isn't it? There's rather a queue of people that are doing that. So,
they are rather busy because now the UK has moved over to Sora, and I wonder.
To be fair though, the Freedom of Information team will thankfully be well away from all of that. But we're in a funny situation now of because this is a deadline. And I've gone back to the ICO and said, frankly, they haven't answered the question. So they may well find themselves at tribunal. That'll be a decision for the ICO to make. But I'm not happy about this at all, because the very fact that this document again is being hidden, this document itself contradicts their stance, because they're saying they actually hold. The CA is saying it has no awareness at all, no data of any false positive closures or alerts at airports. And it has, because the CA have even got their own podcast where they actually discuss at Gatwick Airport how people have turned their drones on in the terminal to check their firmware, or it's actually get knocked on in the bag. And that is a false positive, because it's essentially, it is not a rogue drone.
It's in a building. What's it got to do
harm?
What's it got to do with them?
What's that, sorry?
It's in a building. What's it got to do with them?
Yeah. Well, see, I even laid it out before I asked the question, because what I was saying really it's part of your airport process. If you get a ping and I've got a drone, well, first thing, what's the altitude? Is it moving? If it's saying to you, it's actually inside. If it's actually inside one of your buildings. So as well, we had like East Midlands, which again was another one I asked the CA about. Do you know about it? They know about it. They absolutely know about it. They say we don't. They do.
Well, that's the bottom line, isn't it? Their first action is no, and then we find out still no, until. Yeah, they just got to be a bit more honest, and you'd go away quicker if they just, we know about that. Oh, all right, great. It really, it would make it go away. As Sparky says, Rid would fix it.
Yes,
Rid would fix it. But let's because we're over the hour now. They are still misbehaving. You're still onto them, and
the point is that now is the decision's going to have to be made. That could see them end up at tribunal. So it's really they've had the last chance.
Can I come?
Right, and that doesn't look like they've done it, unfortunately.
Can I come to that, Ian?
Well, to be honest, I think I'll have it all done by paper, because otherwise it's just using up all my time, and I think it's a pretty clear-cut case. But yeah, you can have them in person, and you can have them remotely as well. But I generally do them as paper ones, although I have almost been tempted to do remote ones, because it would be kind of fun to be there and argue in a case. But it's sometimes if you've got that much information that makes it pretty black and white, it just seems almost a bit pointless. It's like, give it all, let the judge go through it all and let them decide. So, and unfortunately this year, I'm going to have so many going to tribunal. I might end up letting generally be paper-based, because obviously there's one already at the DFT. The Cabinet Office are going to find themselves headed in that direction, because they've been completely. This is the one where I was trying to find out. Basically, they've got a number of blacklists, and I'd asked about whether Gatwick had triggered any of them, and they then said neither confirmed or deny, which means it absolutely is. So, but they've not answered that properly. So that one's going off. So I think every organisation I've dealt with, I think the Home Office. I can't remember the Home Office now. I think they're close, but they're actually being to some degree helpful. So they might just dodge it. But it's one of this year's been pretty difficult because I'm just trying to get down to certainly with Gatwick. It's just I want to box it off. I just want a final few documents, and they're just being incredibly difficult about providing them. And the Lake and Heath stuff with coming up because it had echoes of is it?
Well, that's a UFO. That's a UFO.
Yeah, well,
that's different altogether.
So that's obviously raised. There's been a lot of difficulty there. I mean, in fairness to them, I mean, there's only really National Police Air Service being decent on that. Although even still, they're giving answers, they are pushing things to push it back in time as far as they can. But I think really all the other authorities, barring NPCC, has to be said, that they've generally been they're generally good on freedom of information. But when it comes down to individual forces, or when it comes down to the MOD, it's really rather bad. I know the where empires have been a bit dodgy, and this is to one of the UAP guys. They've basically said you're not having the video, but they've kind of said, as a matter of policy, period, it ain't going out because it's an investigation. That isn't how freedom of information works. You have to balance it to the public interest. You can't say no, period. You've got to say, we don't want to release it, but the public interest test would still apply, and I think could be argued convincingly there. So I'm afraid if no one else does, I would definitely be going for the video because that's the kind of thing that should be in the public domain.
But the BBC can't get it, can they? So
no, one can. But someone's going to have to do the fight and get it all the way to ICO and potentially on to tribunal, and then it can be down to a judge to decide whether it goes out or not.
So, on the matter of deciding, and now I am glad that Bruce is here, and Simon, here we go. Is this thing for real or not? Is this a real thing? And if it is a real thing, is it almost silent?
To me, is this one like with that?
Doesn't sound like that.
Is this like with that jetpack guy? Because I was looking at this and going, well, there's no rotors, so is this like a jet thing underneath?
Must have turbines.
Yeah, it's got. Oh, hang on. That's the Jetson. It's the same bloke, isn't it? It's sort of one of the work. It's exactly there. I worked for a successful drone company, and their patent expired, and so it's exactly the same.
But hurry now, because big jet bike companies want to take this video down.
To me, it doesn't look big enough to have. Or
it's fuel tank.
You know, when the bloke's got it on his hands, he's got massive control authority, hasn't he? So I suppose that does prove it's relatively simple. But if it's real, it must be so noisy. It must be incredible.
The bits of this to me don't even look legit. It just looks a bit CG. So I really don't know. Because if it's where it's done, there's bits cropped out of frame, so that could actually be stuck on something. And driving along, and you'd be none the wiser. And then it goes outside. So I'm really
doesn't look good.
Sure.
I'll have go through it frame by frame and see if there's any compositing or VFX artifacts in there.
That looks like it's on a truck, doesn't it? That does look like it's on a trailer.
Well, he's probably got an Insta360 on a stick out the front. That tends to look like
that. Okay.
Oh no, that's real.
Yeah,
that's definitely real. I've seen that documentary.
That was in Australia, wasn't it?
That was that's right. There's Temuera Morrison.
It's not big enough to have the fuel supply if they were jets. So if they were jet turbines, like the guy with the hand stuff, that thing's not got the fuel capacity straight away, and it just it doesn't look right.
Well, given the high center of gravity, or given the way it's built, I don't know how you'd have enough control by.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
With the arms, it's obvious because
That
your
looks
arms are
CGI
right
to
out
me.
here. Doesn't
That
it?
looks
I mean,
CGI.
Yeah.
It has to be said, although it looks good, that I've not seen anything in there that you couldn't fake, because obviously we can see the shadow of it. What a shadow you can fake. You know,
He looks fake.
It was kind of the ripples from the like sand and water blowing and all that stuff. You can still fake that, but if it was, it'd be very good, because if you notice the bushes here below it are moving and that. But then again, you could have actually flown a real drone round to get the and you can track it blowing about and then composite over it.
You can track and use a warp effect in a power window to produce that deflection of the bushes quite easily. So the VFX wouldn't be too difficult.
What is this one going to be?
Does it have red?
That looks real. Oh yeah, the aircraft carrier. I've seen that.
Oh, it's just going to be the same footage, isn't it? Oh, the shadow was there then. I should see the. And see that all blowing in front of it. Well, where's the nozzle that's doing the blowing in front?
It doesn't. Yeah, it's a bit hard to see, isn't it?
Oh, that was the best.
That's great.
That was the best one. Boom, boom.
And as if you'd have a throttle on it, like a hand throttle.
Yeah,
because the lag on turbines is so high.
Yeah, well, it would have to be vanes, wouldn't it? It would have to be vanes. It couldn't, as you say, the spool up and spool down. Yeah, like, I was an engineer at. It's exactly the same.
I'll have a look at that. Though.
What's the probe out the front? Some sort of like.
That's the camera. That's
the camera.
Yeah. But I noticed in some of these shots, the dust is blowing a long way in front of the craft, and a lot of it's behind it, as if they haven't been consistent in their application of the VFX.
Do you know, if you just saw that shot with the bike on its own just back there, if I didn't know better, I'd just think it was just some sort of modern barbecue in the middle of.
Well, it is eventually.
In many ways, yes. In many ways, it would be. Yes.
Well, I'm sure at some point it will be as well.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think. So I think they've done a Star Wars. Oh, they've done a Star Wars version as well. Of course they have. For May the 4th. So I think we just generally give it the thumbs half to down. I think, don't we? Yeah, I think we do. I think we do. And on that note,
no, I've got something else.
This is the point where I say, is any more for any more?
Yes. The narrative continues. The narrative continues because here in New Zealand, a duck hunters shot down a drone. There was some greenies flying a drone with the duck hunting, protect the animals. They must not suffer. They're flying their drone around and they got shot down by duck hunters. Which is not surprising, I suppose. But the thing that worries me most is that the Minister for the South Island in New Zealand, I didn't know we had a Minister for the South Island, but apparently we have a Minister for the South Island. His name is James Meagher. And his comment was, the idea that flying a drone into the faces of people lawfully operating firearms is not only dangerous, but incredibly stupid. Now, as far as I'm aware, these people did not fly their drone into the face of the hunters. The narrative is so strong in this one. Let's hype it up and make people think these drones attacked the hunters and had to defend themselves. What a load of rubbish. Where's the proper journalism in this? Why has no one disputed this fact and challenged it, or this comment and challenged it? We live in an age of disinformation. It's so sad.
Oh yeah, post-truth age, mate. Post-truth age. But your civil aviation authority is also not rising to the charge of interfering with an aircraft, is it? Which is the thing that we were sort of, everyone's been told, oh well, no, people can't shoot them down because that's interfering with an aircraft. But no, I don't think anybody's yet gone.
I think a police drone. There was a police drone in the States that got shot.
Did anything ever come from the Stonehenge security guys using a laser pointer on the drones? Did anything ever come of that?
I don't think so. But aviation authorities, if they want money from you, you're an aircraft, you're a pilot, and you need every single health and safety, every single certificate possible. But if there's an incident where they rather look the other way, you're a toy all of a sudden. They want to have it both ways. And
it'll be interesting that time when a drone's flying over a crowd of people and someone shoots it down and the drone hits someone and hurts them, the drone pilot will be blamed.
Well, we should have had a parachute.
Yeah, but a parachute won't help.
Not if you've shot out the flight controller and the parachute controller.
Yeah, hang on. Ian's just got a.
Well, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to go back and do 20 more pages of Sora until you've worked out that recipe.
Pay more money. That's bound to fix it.
Pay more money. That'll fix it. Yeah, somebody got sold. Yeah, it's not cool, is it? These things are not cool. And
so that tweet there was just from one of the UK commercial forums. So we've had another pilot doing a commercial job and then being assaulted. So he was filming at one property, one neighbour has a beef with that neighbour, so decided to take it out on the drone up doing the job.
And this one, you're dropping this in at the end. This is health and safety rules stop army from flying drones over soldiers' heads. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Especially when they're in a tank at the time.
Yeah, but
even if the tank is empty, they're not allowed to overfly, apparently, they were saying.
Standardized European rules of the air 5005 clearly states that you should not overfly any object that may contain person.
Well, there we are.
A tank is an object that may contain person.
Well, what's happening in Ukraine?
May contain that.
I would love this to be said in Ukraine.
Absolutely.
Well, I did. I've been saying this on LinkedIn. People been chatting up. You need to arm. We need to do this. We need to do that. We need to do all the other. I say any danger area in the UK where an exercise is on now should be fair game to red team drone units. Not with the boom bit connected, but with some sort of lighter stuff that hits the side of a window, hits the side of whatever, and says, "Look, we got you." It should just be standard.
The problem is that it's the world we now live in means that even if you trip over on the battlefield on probably an army training site in the UK, there's going to be an accident book where you're going to have to go and fill it in afterwards now. Can you imagine it going to war? Has anyone got the accident book just in case?
The trouble is the British will be defeated in war because they'll all be wearing high vis on the battlefield.
Yeah. Yes. and rightly so. I mean, health and safety first aid last.
Or they can't go because they don't have their health and safety cards.
Exactly. Something like that. Look, we're definitely going into nonsense mode. I enjoyed that nonsense mode. Well, an interesting one we've had this evening. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming along, Chris. Thank you. We're heavily bent towards, and as many people say, but light shows on here now, aren't we? So we're going to level it up a little bit. But thanks very much. Great.
It's a light entertainment, mate.
Oh, very good. Very good exclusive earlier on of actually seeing that sci-fi flying. That was fantastic.
What I want to know is why would anybody fake a sort of, make a counterfeit remote ID thing? Why would you make a remote ID thing in the first place? I missed that bit, of course. I wasn't here, but
no tardiness.
Yeah. If I was in that position, I had a few grand lying around, I'd go to the Dubai Copyright Authority and I would copyright the name on the side of that case.
But didn't they change the name?
Then go to the Dubai CAA and say, by the way, you've infringed my Dubai copyright. And you're much likely to get a response from that. But they'll just change it and spell it slightly differently. That's because that's all they've done. Is I bet there's you can get European designs which protect the actual look of something. So you can get European registered design, but of course it's not registered. It's not valid in Dubai.
Yeah, but as Steve was pointing it, if they show up as networked devices in the way that they're supposed to do, that brings a conversation in about safety, security, and legitimacy of devices that have managed to arrive on a network for network remote ID. If that is the case, but they seem to think they don't exist. So that's what he said, Bruce. They don't think they're physically out there yet because they managed to buy one.
I just wonder how they're flashing. I wonder how the modes are when you switch it on. Is it going to go green or is it going to go red flashing? Blah blah blah. Whatever, it's going to be interesting. Or is it just going to go green like you think everything's okay and you put it on and on you go?
Well, I think there's a great deal to be said for just creating a case with a battery in it and a couple of LEDs that flash and do no more than that. And it's
pistachio cream.
Can I pose a final hypothetical question, because I've got to shoot in a minute? But
yes, we should.
Final hypothetical question is: if that jet bike was real, how long would it be before somebody shot it out the sky with a shotgun?
Well, especially if the bloke was wearing a duck costume. I mean, that would do it.
And flying it into the faces of the duck shooters.
Exactly. That would do it. That would do it very quickly.
There you go.
Right. And on that note, thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody. Look after yourselves everywhere, wherever you are in the world. Have a safe week. We'll see you again next week at 2100 Gin and Tonic. Cheers for now. 1 button, 2 button.